Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for Fetch. Now, I'm looking at this today because I had a friend ask me if this could be a diagonal, something like this. And then we have like a 1, 2, 3, working on a 4 and a 5 for our third. And when I'm analyzing a new chart, the first thing I would look at is the wave count, right? This to me, out on a weekly, where we can see less noise, looks like a 3-wave move. This actually looks like a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, with a lot of separation. And this looks like most likely a 5-wave move. It's a little tougher count, but I went down on the daily to look at it. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I would look at our indicators. Now, when we're looking at a diagonal, we would expect the 5th wave to actually overshoot the 3rd wave usually, or come close, not come that extreme amount of shy. This is just guidelines, not rules, but just explain what I look for here. We would also usually, as per guidelines, see divergence between the 1, 3, and 5, which we don't see. So I don't think this is a diagonal personally. The big tell is this wave right here. That's a clear impulse. So I would consider this either a double zigzag, ABC, ABC. Yep, that's how I would count it. And then we'll talk about this area over here. So I'm going to throw on my main count right now, and I'll show you how that can change, because we are 3-wave patterns all over the place. So I'm going to show you how that can change. So other things to look at here. Where did we reach? Basically the 1-to-1 right there. We wick through the 1-to-1. So to me, that most logically is a double zigzag than a diagonal. Look at some other things. Where did we pivot? It looks like around the 618. Yep, right there, the 618. What a surprise. And then we have this move to the upside, which came to 1.236, which is a common target for a C wave. Remember, 3rd waves are 1.618, unless we have some sort of setup where we're expecting a extended 5th wave. Even looking at the internals of this wave here, 5th wave is the longest. That actually looks like an ABC in itself. 1.236 again, just shy of it. This looks like 5 waves in itself here. ABC, ABC. So this does not look impulsive to me. So I did do a rough count. I'll show you that, and I'll show you where I'll make adjustments in the future down on the daily chart. So let's move down to the 618. Like so. I have as an X wave, so it's a double zigzag W. Have this as a diagonal for an A wave. This is a better diagonal for an A wave, or than the move from the low. I'll show you why. When we get shy retracements, so the way I would label this is like this. You can see we have nice contracting trend lines, and when we get shy retracements in our wave 1, it's actually a double zigzag, ABC, ABC. We look for the 618 and the 786, just shy of the 1-to-1. And when we get really deep retracements, I look for the 1.38 1.236, and the 1.618 for the fifth. You can see our third wave was right between the 0.618 and the 786, and then we take the measurement of our third wave for our fifth. Same idea. 618, 786, perfect, right? So it's most likely a diagonal. Then we had a three-wave move to the upside, and we continued down to the downside. I have this as a five-wave move. We had a diagonal and then an impulse. We have our wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, triangle wave 4 within the 3, and A, B, C, D, E. I put a trend line there just to show you that our E wave did not overlap. Came very close, but did not overlap. So that is our fourth of the third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got our third, got our fourth as a expanded flat, and we got a 1 as a diagonal. Wave 2 as a flat, running flat, 3, 4, 5. This area is difficult, but there's 5 waves there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's our X wave. I then put our Fibonacci retracement on. Again, these look like double zigzags, complex combination. And we came right between our B zone. This is labeled over here. So this is my primary count, what I think is happening. We have double zigzag up to our B zone, most likely, right between the 1.236 and 382. Again, always put that up when you see a three-wave move to the downside, just in case this is happening. You can see our extensions are pretty much ideal for a corrective move. That was the 1.236, I believe. Yep. So what I would be looking for now, we got our W wave. We're looking for a three-wave move here as a expanded or running flat before our Y wave to the upside. And after we get that move complete, that's when we can look for our one-to-one to the upside. So it will be bullish eventually in my point of view, just not right now. So what we'll do here, get our pivots, looking for the 618 and the one-to-one. Put that over there. For our X wave to complete. Sorry. Move that over. Am I on the pivot? Not quite. It's important to get these things right, exact, right? Move that over. So we're looking for 618 minimum. One-to-one is the maximum we would want here. Let me check one more thing. This is a big tell too, if it works. So that's our double zigzag over here. Do we channel? Yes, we do. Look at that. Perfect. WXY. Perfect. If this was a third wave, ideally you would have come to the 1.618, came above the beginning of wave 1 in that scenario, off wave 2, off the top of wave 1, and you would want to consolidate above, and off you go. I always talk about the difference of how a wave looks. That's a perfect example right there. That's more likely corrective. You can see that perfect channel. So we'd also want to see at least a one-to-one in time, just a guideline again, but we're just honing in where we expect these things to be. Again, this is a guideline, not a rule. I just like to have everything set. So we expect this to take quite a long time. We're looking into next year. So if this ends up being a flat pattern, we'd be looking for 5 waves. I'm looking how this, yeah. See this diagonal? Looking very similar to this one over here, right? And even this one here. You can see how similar they are. I'm going to zoom in on this area. Looks like a 3 wave. This looks like a 5. I'm working on a 5. So it could be very similar where we get an ABC, ABC, and that's actually our wave 1. Look for a sideways consolidation for our 2 and come down for our 5. And most likely going to be a diagonal to begin with, similar to this one. Only difference being we'd get another 4 or 5 if we're comparing these, and we actually get an ABC. We'd get our 1, 2, come down for our 3, 4, 5, something like this. Okay, so if I'm wrong, what could be happening? I think this is, again, unlikely a diagonal, but if you're playing on the fact that that's a diagonal, and I'm wrong on this, obviously this would be your 1, 2, 3. Invalidation of that, which I think will be invalidated very shortly, is the top of this wave 1, right, at about 62.1 cents. 62.08 cents, that invalidates this as a 4th wave. Where else could I be wrong? Well, one thing I would consider, let me see where we came to here. Remember that diagonal rule, 618, 786, when we don't come extremely deep. We're at the 786. So my alternative for this would be, we're actually, if this doesn't pan out and we don't drop from here, which is my bias, I think we come down here. But what I am open to, but this would be difficult to navigate, is that we're in the middle of a diagonal. Let me show you that. Get rid of these. So how could we be in the middle of a diagonal? Well, we know in wave 1s we can get zigzag patterns. It doesn't have to be singles, it can be doubles. So how I would be bullish on this, which might actually end up being my primary in the future, based on how we need moves up in the market, if this one holds, I would actually, where's that pitchfork? Not that one. This one. Move that out. I'd switch to shift because we've met the requirement here. Again, this would be our WXY double zigzag. Hope you're catching on to this now. This would also be a double zigzag, ABC, ABC. Like so. This might end up being my count eventually. But until we get a pivot to trade off of, I'm going to stick with the more downside sell-off. Okay, we came to 618. We'd expect similar for the next wave 4. put the 382 on there too, just to be aware of all the levels. Move that over. I like to use time, as you know. I just use these as guidelines more than anything. They don't work well in triangles, but they tend to work well in diagonals between the 618 and the 1-to-1 in time. Perfect for our wave 3. How did we do on this first wave? 618 and the 1-to-1. So I'd expect similar for the fourth wave of the third wave, 618 and the 1-to-1 in time. So now we can zone in on this. Whoa, what the heck happened there? Put this up here. Good thing is, next video, this will all be here, right? I hope you guys find value in this, just how we navigate these processes, trying to make better traders, and help you see how I see the market here. Hopefully it'll help you. So we'd be looking January and August, kind of very similar. But you can see it's a similar move. Difference being, if this is a diagonal, I would expect a 3-wave move, and if this is the the ABC, I'd be looking for 5 waves. But very similar area, because that 1-to-1 in the ABC would be this zone, and for the fourth wave it would be this zone, right? So very similar. So I am not bullish on Fetch. No, I just don't see it. I don't see this as a diagonal. I don't see this as a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not meeting any guidelines whatsoever, as you can see. Even our trend lines are off. These look like 5-wave moves. This does not look like an impulse. This looks like a combination. Nothing's really going to help me here. In combinations, usually you see the peak on the C wave. That's there. Yeah, I don't like Fetch unless I'm missing something. One more option which we can track in the future is if it does hold up in price, this could end up turning into a running triangle. Again, how I always preach, X and B waves are very difficult. That's because they can be so many different things. But the important thing when we're tracking in Elliott Wave is to get our trade set up at the end of a completed structure, right? Like down in this zone would be where you want to trade. Down in this zone is where you want to trade. If you want to short, we want to wait for that wave 2. And this is where we want to trade, right? Okay, so the triangle would work out. This is still a W wave, it's double zigzag. And this would just drag out in time, which I don't think anybody would actually want, but we're going to throw it on there because it is an option. And this is how we would hold up in the market and not drop significantly more than we are now. And that would be an A, B, C, D, E, like so. Usually we look for similar 618s, Sometimes these can go deeper, come as close as far as the 786 if we don't hold on that pivot. But again, you can see it's a long time to wait on Fetch. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one off right now because I'm not gonna track it that long. Sorry, I'd pick something else. That's trash. So there's our two options I would be tracking. WXY or the diagonal to the upside, which would look something like that, right? 3, 4, 5. And option number 3 is this project is done, which I don't think anybody would want. I think very unlikely. And this ends up just selling off to all-time lows. But it seems unlikely to me. I'll be looking for this or this. But I can track this, guys. That's a pretty nice short up there. We'll see if this ends up turning into something else, but I'll make sure to update that. Sorry it was so long. I just thought some people might find value in this, see how I'm navigating these things. And yeah, I uploaded some other videos today. Check those out if you want, and I'll see you on the next one.